Students, so I want to introduce you to assignment number 3. So under materials, we've got the resources folder for paper number 3. I'm going to look at the assignment sheet so that we're all on the same page as to what is required of you for paper number 3. So paper number 3, project number 3 is what we should really say, is a proposal to an issue. Okay, so like I said, I really kind of want you to follow up with paper number 2. So maybe you explored an issue for paper number 2, a controversial issue, right? So I'm going to pick one that is definitely banned so that I'm not replicating one of your issues. But say you picked abortion and paper number 2 research the critical situation on abortion. And perhaps for paper number 3, you want to propose having access. You want to propose a solution to the abortion debate, or your side of the abortion debate is to provide better access to abortions for women in rural areas. Okay, so that would be the argument that you're making. So there's an issue, right, is access to abortion. And your solution is, perhaps your solution has to do with arranging transportation. Okay, so if we look at the requirements, you have to pick a couple of things. So the actual project makes your public proposal argument. So there's kind of a solution here that we're looking for. So you're proposing a solution. Additionally, if you'll look down below, you're proposing a solution to a specific audience. So you need to decide which audience needs to or can do something about this issue. Now, it cannot just be the general public, okay? I want you, this is one of the ways that you're evaluated on this project, is how well you articulate an argument to a specific audience. And in a format that they can deal with. So the actual project, like what you actually do for this project, is way up in the air. So, it could be a text-based project. It could be an audio or a video project. It could be a website. I'll go over that in just a minute. You're required to have a bibliography with sources that you consulted. You don't exactly have to cite sources in your work, depending on what type of work you are doing, but you need to show me that this is a researched project. You don't have to replicate the same sources from project number 3. Like, say for instance, you looked at a lot more web sources for this thing. There's no minimum requirements of what you have to look at for this project, but I just want to know that you put some thought and research into paper number 3, that you didn't just go, I'm going to pull this stuff out of the sky, okay? So the idea is change, right? For this assignment, you will work as a group. Now, I'll stop you right there. I'm giving you all the option to work as a group. If you would like to work alone, that's totally fine. In fact, most of my students in my online classes really do prefer to work alone, but I would really encourage you that if you've made a connection throughout this semester, to reach out to someone and work with that person, and see if you can do that. That would be really great. I think that this project is better done as, a partnership as a group. So all you have to do is send me an email and say, hey, I'm working with this person. So you need to determine who would be interested in hearing about your issue, and then your stance on it. What's your solution here? Then you need to write, record, etc., a well-reasoned argument. And the project should appeal to ethos, pathos, and logos that align with the rhetorical situation you wish to enter. So that's a big part of the way that I'm evaluating this project, is that you have targeted an audience and that the rhetorical appeals you use in your project specifically hail that audience and specifically argue to that audience, right? So for example, if you were trying to, say for instance, get a traffic light installed somewhere in Tempe, you're probably going to research who makes that decision in Tempe, in the city of Tempe, what kind of public official does. And then you could take it a couple of different ways. You could write a letter to that person. You could post a video, an argumentative video, maybe a kind of mini documentary to that person's Facebook page or to the city of Tempe's Facebook page. And you'll be using the rhetorical appeals we've been talking about all semester. So the format is open to, your audience and the way that your audience needs to see this. I've had students stage protests. I've had students send things into newspapers. I've had students do other things. So for example, social media campaigns where they literally build, Facebook pages, Twitter, websites for a social media campaign. So we're thinking of like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, and you're telling a group of people what to do. So if you look at the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge website, they had kind of a format that they asked people to follow, and then that took on a life of its own. You could do an advocacy video. You all could record public service announcements. I've had students do pamphlets, podcasts, mini documentaries, put together a website, and organize a rally. So the criteria for evaluation here is I'm looking at the actual argument and the clarity of the argument, the audience, and the use of rhetorical appeals. One of the things I want to mention is that I'm looking for original material here. So for example, say you want to put together a video. I don't want it to be just a bunch of video clips from other videos. I want you all to record your own video. If you want to put together a website, right, you might be putting together some links to information, but you also should be writing original content, okay? So, and if you're worried about what kind of content you're writing, or if you're writing enough content, contact me, or, give me a plan as to how much is going to be original and how much is going to be linked. I always err on the side of having more original content than not, because I think that that's what your audience wants to see. So you don't want to replicate something that someone else has done before. For example, I've had a group in the past ask me if they could put together a website on human trafficking. And I asked them, how is your website on human trafficking going to be any different than another website? And so they had to think really, really hard. And in the end, they came out with something that was really kind of appropriate for their audience. They geared it towards ASU students, and they gave ASU students a bunch of references on campus that they could use, while also additionally creating original content. So I encourage you with this project to think outside the box. So on our Schoology site, there's a couple of things I want to point you to. On this examples and questions for thinking about for thinking about Project 3, there are some things that I want to point you to. I have listed 4 already public campaigns, public multimedia arguments that are, I would say, pretty specifically related to an audience. And I've listed some questions to consider in just analyzing those different arguments, because I think it's important to think about these questions in analyzing them, but then also to apply those when you're actually creating these. Additionally, if you want to see things that my other students have created, under Sample Project 3, I've linked and given you samples to a mini documentary, a sample website, and kind of another advocacy video. So these are things that students have actually created for my course. So if you're, you need some sort of basis to go off of, I think this is a really good start. Okay. So, and the other thing, you'll be posting, and look at the, you'll be posting by the due date your ideas for Project 3. So what ideas do you have about the format, about the audience, and things like that? Okay. And so, like I said, you'll be posting that to project number 3. And you'll be getting feedback from myself. Okay. Awesome. I'm really excited about this project, and I can't wait to start working on it with you. All right. Take care.